Ask a Yoga Question is a weekly series on my blog, YogaByCandace.com, where I answer questions from readers on yoga. The first question is, my biggest problem is low to high lunge. Instructors will always say, use core strength, which is very disheartening as I struggle to rise up. I typically take upwards of 5 to 10 seconds. Eventually, I push my hands on my forward knee and wobble on the way up. I've been practicing at least 5 days a week, 3 months now, for a minimum of 40 minutes each session. Are there any tips that can help me? So to rise up from low lunge, we want to make sure we're in low lunge properly. So I recommend curling the toes and making sure that you have a really solid foundation on the pad of the back foot. So for low lunge, we're coming forward, breathing into this hip flexor, finding a sense of balance. And then before you rise up to high lunge, come back to center. So right now my knee is in front of my ankle, which is perfectly fine for low lunge, but we don't want to do this in high lunge. It's not great for the knee. So we'll come back to center until the knee is over the ankle or slightly behind. Then put all of your weight evenly distributed in all 4 corners of the front foot. Press especially into the back foot, into the pad of the foot, making sure you're feeling good and solid there. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, rise up. How can I get deeper into pigeon pose? I can barely move my bent knee to be more parallel to the top of the mat, and I barely feel any stretch when I bend over in this position. So coming into pigeon pose. If your pigeon pose looks like this, you can't get this foot out, meaning you can't bring your shin so it's parallel to the short edge of the mat. That's really okay. It just means the back of your hip is very tight, and that's what happens when you're a beginner. Your hips are tight. It's no big deal. So, to take this pose deeper, just work wherever you are. You don't want to force this leg to come out because it puts a lot of undue stress on the front knee and it makes you susceptible to injury. So instead, I would just take your blocks, put them here on either side of you, underneath your shoulders, and just hang out here until you feel really good in your legs and you can just kind of relax a little bit. If you need a little bit more support, I'm just going to switch sides. If you need a little bit more support, you can take the block and place it just under your sit bone. You don't want to like ram it underneath there. You just want to have a little bit of support. This is going to help to bring your hips to face more forward because I often see that people are kind of up here with their hips being uneven. And then as you stay here, you just want to breathe and breathe into any areas of tightness. Roll your shoulders back, puff your chest out, and you're working the hip flexor of the straightened leg. When you bend forward to take it into the other side, you might want to be here, or maybe you're really tight and you're up here. That's okay. Wherever you are, you're taking the stretch now into the back of the bent leg. So just move as far forward as you can until you feel something. And when you feel something, stop and explore what it feels like, making sure it's just a tense sensation and it's not on the brink of injury. And then when you're ready, you go even more and more forward. So again, you want to have your hips even, and you can always reach back and feel if they're even or if one side is higher than the other. The best advice I can give for pigeon pose and for anybody trying to increase flexibility in any pose is just patience and consistent practice. Malasana or garland pose isn't too difficult for me. However, I wish I knew how to get the heels of my feet to touch the floor without me falling back. My heels are always raised by 1 inch or 2. For garland pose, we're taking the feet out about 45 degrees. Beginners should start with their heels up high, hands in prayer position, and then you just want to press the elbows into the knees so the chest opens up, the shoulder blades draw toward one another, and then you can slowly make your way down onto your heels. If you're falling backward, it may just be that you need to work on the flexibility of your hips, the inner parts of the thighs, the groins. So you want to press into the elbows, and then you might even want to lean forward a little bit, just stick your head out a little bit and see if that helps to find your center of gravity. Another good thing to remember is distributing the weight evenly on all 4 corners of both feet. I can twist pretty deep in seated spinal twist. However, I can't do the bind at all. Are there any prep poses I can do for this? For the bind for seated spinal twist, you want to have the one hand come back behind you in line with your spine. Lift the other arm, hook at the elbow, and we want to twist from the navel. So with each exhale, twisting a little bit more. You want to bring the hand in to the hole with your leg and then grab hold. So here my shoulder blades are drawing toward one another and my chest is open. So I think that's the key to having a really open chest, a lot of flexibility in the shoulders. And one of the best poses you can do for that is a yin pose. So this one will support the base of your head, and this one will go in line with your spine. So you want this part to be your upper back, between your shoulder blades. And you'll lay back, and then just rest your head on the other one. Your knees can be bent, or you can extend them, and arms come out to the side. And just hang out here for 5 minutes, maybe even 10. And if this is too much for you, I would recommend just turning it to the side for a shorter stance. I'm trying to figure out what other poses would be considered intermediate level. I'm trying to make some goals, and it helps knowing what I'm working towards and what's realistic at my level. I can do crow pose and forearm headstand, but what other poses, like side crow, are challenging that I could be working on? Okay, so some intermediate poses that you could try. Ashtavakasana I really like. It's when you bring the leg up. I have a whole blog post on it, but this is a really fun one. You may also want to do flying baby pigeon. You start in standing pigeon. Bring the hands down shoulder distance, hook the foot. Use your core strength, look ahead, lift. Letter T. This is not a capital letter T, right? Is that a capital letter T? Then please like, comment, share, and subscribe. I'm done.